Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Friday Live, coming to you on Facebook and YouTube. Today, we are going to cover I've got some great questions for you today, relationship-based questions. So we're going to get into it pretty quickly. I don't have as much time as I normally do, but I wanted to jump in here and answer some questions that have been kind of building up in my inbox in the last few weeks. As always, please say hi. Let me know where you're listening from. And if you're new to me, my name is Fiona Lukes. I go live here every week at around this time, and which is, where are we now? It's 11:15 Australian Daylight Savings Time. So if you are in the US or Canada or anywhere else in the world, let me know where you're listening from. The UK people will be asleep probably at this time, so I won't expect any of you guys, but any of the Aussies, New Zealanders, Canadians, and people from the States would love to hear from you. So I've been away this week. I was in up north, which in a place called Brisbane. Very, very hot. Oh, so hot there. It was beautiful. But I've been away in a conference, so I didn't get home from there until it was almost 2:00 in the morning. So I'm a little slow. So I'm a little tired and a little slow because I was at a conference all day and then traveling. And yeah, like I said, I got home at it was 2 a.m. So I'm not functioning as fast as I would be today. Hi, Deezer, you're back from your trip. Lovely to see you, darling. Thank you for saying hi. And hello, Melinda. Nice to see you, honey, from Port Stephens. I bet it's stinking hot in Port Stephens at the moment. Far out. And anywhere else. So Port Stephens is north of where I am, and it is because it's heating up in Australia because we are heading towards summer. Hi, Mark. Hi. Hello to you and Liana. I hope you had a lovely trip away in the mountains. I really, really do. And I hope your mother is feeling better, Liana. I've been thinking of you and your mum. Alison, hello. Hi, honey. Thank you for saying hi. You're in Tookamwal, New South Wales, Victoria border. Okay. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for saying hi. Great to hear from you as well. Okay, so getting into it today, the first question that I've got here to answer is from someone who, and I think this is a really great question because I think this is something that can come up for a lot of us in terms of handling differences or the way we see things in our relationships. So the question that's come through is from someone who's saying, hi, Fiona, how can I feel secure in my relationship when my partner isn't very expressive? And I thought this was a great question because this is something that comes up a lot. We tend to look for the answers in places that don't always give us accurate information, right? And I think this is a really important thing for us to remember, especially when it comes to understanding each other, wanting to create connection, getting past our own fears and insecurities. And so I thought this was a great question. How can I feel secure in my relationship when my partner isn't very expressive? It's amazing how we can make, or what we can make something like that mean for ourselves, right? Especially if you're someone who's quite expressive. Let's say you're someone who's quite touchy-feely and emotive, and you're someone who's quick to share what's on your mind, share your heart, speak from your heart, those kind of things. And maybe you're in a relationship with someone where that isn't their natural inclination, where they're not necessarily someone who responds that way. Maybe they show their feelings for you in a very different way to what you do. But because we tend to look at the world through what makes sense to us, right? This is what we instinctively do, us humans. We look out in the world based on the reality we create, and we think this is the way things are, right? This is a very understandable thing to do, right? It's very easy to look out in the world and say, well, this is the way things are. And so when someone operates in a different way to you, it's like, hang on, that doesn't make sense to me. And then, of course, when something doesn't make sense to us, as humans, very, very quick to add a lot of meaning to that. And we don't realize that that's meaning that we are making up. It's one of the hardest things for us to get our head around, because again, it looks like this is the way things are. This is what is true, right? And so if you can appreciate the fact that human beings are meaning-making machines, we make meaning out of absolutely anything and everything, then you've got to get your head around that first, right? That we are meaning-making machines and we make meaning out of absolutely everything. And again, this is something that obviously we have lots of conversations about in my Relatable program, but you have to be able to get your head around that. And if you can't get your head around that first, what I'm about to say will be very challenging for you, because you'll have a lot of yeah buts around it. But what about this? What about that? And you'll see lots of exceptions everywhere. And one of the reasons we have a lot of yeah buts and we have a lot of exceptions to what I'm saying is because we haven't actually embraced that yet. That we are meaning-making machines and we make meaning out of everything. So if you haven't seen that bit, you will have a lot of what ifs, what abouts, yeah buts. All right. So it's very, very important. This is why I talk about the fact that, when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to creating connection, when it comes to well-being, when it comes to our own happiness, when it comes to us being able to live in the now, as opposed to the now being a repeat of the past, which is what happens for so many of us. When it comes to being in the now, you have to understand how human beings work, how things work for us all. Now, the great thing about what I'm saying is how human beings work is true for everybody. It's true for everybody. That's the one good thing. So, amongst others. Hi, Ian. Nice to see you. It's been a little while. I hope you're well. Nicole. Hey, Nick. Hi, Fee. Getting my feed fixed after missing you on Wednesday. Oh, thank you, darling. I missed you guys too. I'm looking forward to connecting with everyone on the Monday call. Okay, so the question that I'm answering right now is, how can I feel secure in my relationship when my partner isn't very expressive? So the first thing you have to understand is that we're meaning-making machines. And so you can hear the meaning that someone has put in this, just even by the question that's been asked. How can I feel secure in my relationship when my partner isn't very expressive? You can hear the meaning that's already been put in this sentence. Can anybody hear it? Can anybody hear the meaning that's already been placed there by the person who's asked this question? And I say this with love and kindness to the person who asked this question. It's a great question. It's going to help so many people, help us. It's very helpful to us all. And you want to see that we innocently put meaning onto things. We innocently do it. And it's our inability to see this that makes life very complicated and hard, especially in our relationships. So I'm just curious, can anybody hear the meaning that is already in this question? How can I feel secure in my relationship when my partner isn't very expressive? Yeah, that's right, Melinda. Exactly. Beautiful. If my husband's not expressive, the meaning is I can't be secure. That the meaning is they need to be emotionally expressive for me to be secure. Right? If my partner's not expressive, emotionally expressive, that means something. That means something about me. Right? Now, insert that means they don't care about me. That means I don't matter. That means I'm not enough. That means, do you know what I mean? When we're talking about feeling secure, generally, and I'm obviously without being able to speak to this person, I can't say what exact meaning they're putting on it, but it'll be something along those lines. They've used the word insecure. So the meaning, the filter with which they're viewing this is, my partner's not very emotionally expressive, and that means that XYZ, they don't care about me. I'm not important. They don't love me as much as I love them. Like, these are all the meanings that they're putting on that, right? Now, if you can't see the meaning that you put on something, right? If you can't see that, then you're kind of almost operating blind, okay? You're operating blind because you're trying to fix something out here without understanding what it is, what's there between you and that experience. All right. And this is a huge mistake that people make. And again, when I say mistake, I say it's an innocent mistake. We all do it. I do it. It's very human to do. But this is where the answer to that question, how can I feel more secure when my partner isn't very expressive? The answer to that question lies right here in what I'm talking about, in this person being able to see the meaning that they're creating about that first. Hey, Jody. Hi, darling. Nice to see you. So lovely. And Lee. Hi, Lee. Hello, honey. Nathan. Hi. Oh, nice to see all these lovely names and faces here. Thank you. So good to see you guys. I just want to do a check-in. Is this making sense? Because this is very important. You have to be able to see the meaning that you put on something. Because without that, if you see that as this is true, right? This is the truth. If you see that as this is the truth, someone who's not very emotionally expressive means, and again, I don't know what their specific meaning is, but it's going to be something along the lines of, they don't care about me, they're not, I love them more than they love me, or I'm not important, or I'm not enough, or whatever that may mean. If you can't see that, if you see that as that is true, then you will never feel secure if you're in a relationship with someone who's not as emotionally expressive as you. Because you will always come up against that meaning. Every time they're not as emotionally expressive, that's what you're going to come up against. That's what you're going to come up against. And you're going to see their lack of emotional expression or the fact that they're not as emotionally expressive as you as evidence that that is true. And so you will always come back to this place. That's what you're up against. And we, in our relationships, this is the trickiest thing, because we come up against this and we don't see it as meaning, as the meaning we're putting on something. We see it as a fact. This is the way things are. Now, the freedom that people are looking for, so the peace of mind, the ability to weather each other's emotional storms and differences, lies in your capacity to see that, what I'm talking about. It lies in your capacity to see that. Because when you see it in real time, right? When you see that in real time, hey, Nathan, yes, we are meaning-making machines, oftentimes innocently and unconsciously. Yes, absolutely. It's all very innocent, right? So please, when I say this, there's no judgment of because we're all human, we all do it. But this is why we have to understand that as a human being, this is an essential thing that you have to know and understand. Especially if you want to create connection with someone, if you want to have a better relationship, if you want to feel closer, if you want to create things like goodwill, and if you want to be able to put something down, it's that. Okay, it's that. It's your ability to see that. Hi, Jonas. Oh my goodness, it has been a while. Hi, how are you? It's really lovely to see you. Thank you so much for saying hi. I really appreciate it. Oh my goodness, it's so lovely to see you, Jonas. Oh, Deezer. Yeah, so much freedom, and we can see this in real time. That is the key to emotional freedom. And I truly believe that emotional freedom is what people are looking for. When you have emotional freedom, how much easier is every single thing in your life? I mean, everything. You bounce back from things way faster with less baggage. You feel more connected to the people around you. You're present. Your level of well-being goes up. Your mind is clear. You have access to insight, clarity, fresh thinking. I mean, it goes on and on, right? And so to me, relationship connection or relationship success or relationships that thrive and emotional freedom go hand in hand. Okay, these two things go hand in hand. And so the more deeply you see that, the easier it is, right, for you to deal with the question which has been asked. And for those of you who are just joining live, you've just joined me live, hello, welcome. The question that I'm answering here is, how can I feel secure in my relationship when my partner isn't very expressive? Now, if you asked that to someone who's not looking through the lens of this understanding, someone who does what I do, but is not looking through the lens of this understanding, their answer to that question would be vastly different. Their answer to that question would be, and again, when I say this, I'm not trying to position one against the other. I'm just trying to show you the difference of experience that's available, depending on where you look for the answer. All right. But their response to that would be, well, can you talk to them and can you sit down and talk to them about how important it is that they kiss you and hug you and hold your hand and all of those things? Can you sit down and talk to them? Can you explain to them? Can you come up with a plan where you can hold hands more, where you can do this, where you can do that? They would kind of get you pointing out there. Have you know what I mean? Like, they'd be having you look at, how can I change the other person's behavior? Now, the problem with that, and I'm not saying you can't talk to people about the things that are important to you, but if you're having the conversation about something that's important to you without understanding what I'm talking about, you're going to feel very disappointed very quickly. You're going to feel resentful very quickly. You're going to come back to self-righteousness very quickly, because what will happen is this. You'll have this conversation. They won't necessarily respond the way you would like them to. They won't remember to hold your hand because maybe it's not something that comes naturally to them. And when their mind's busy, they don't think about it. You're going to make that mean, I've told them how I really feel and they're still not doing it. That means that what I think is true. I'm not important. They don't really care about me. They don't love me as much as I love them. I'm probably with the wrong person. So you're going to put all of this meaning that you see as true. And then the next time you reach out and maybe they don't respond the way you would, you're going to see that as more evidence that the stuff that you've just put onto this is true. And so you're going to come back to that every time, and it's going to trip you up. And so your ability to see that we are meaning-making machines is the key to everything. And so if I was in a relationship with someone who's not as expressive as me, and I didn't know this, I didn't know what I'm talking about, I didn't know the meaning that I was creating around things, I would be looking at them all the time, and what would be in my mind is, I should have realized they just can't. They're just not the same as me. I mean, they're not warm. They're just not warm people. They're cold. I can't do cold. I can't be in a relationship with someone who's cold. I can't do it. I just can't. This isn't. And I'm going to talk myself into a state of mind where there's this wall. Right now, this wall, and the wall grows, because every time they're not as emotionally expressive, that's more evidence that we're not right, that we're not compatible. Then I'm going to go back in the past. I'm going to look at all the times, and then that's just going to be the state of mind that I now live in. A feeling of disappointment, frustration. And so, of course, what do you think is going to happen to the other person if I'm in that state of mind a lot? Do you think they're going to be warmer to me? Or do you think they're going to be less emotionally expressive? Am I going to be bringing out the best in that person, or am I going to be bringing out their insecurities? Can you see how this just becomes like this? I call it like this figure 8, where one thing just connects to the other, and it just creates this endless loop that people feel like they can't get out of. Because everything is evidence that the meaning that we've just put on something is absolute fact and truth. And so we just get lost. And I see people in these cycles. They're exhausted, and they just go round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And that's where I think the misunderstanding that relationships are complicated, that human beings are complicated, comes from, because we overcomplicate. In that state of mind, we overcomplicate everything because we're overthinking, we're not present, we're in the past. We are now in a state of mind of judgment and frustration. And the other person's like, I don't know. And so they don't feel safe, right? Because obviously when we're in a state of judgment and frustration, we're not making it safe for the other person. So the other person no longer feels safe. And so they withdraw more. And to you, that's just further proof. Proof, right? That's further proof that what the meaning you've made on something is true. And so this can just go on and on and on and on. This is why it is so important. Your capacity to see that we are meaning-making machines is the key to everything. And your capacity to see it when you're upset is even more important. And so what I'd be saying to this person is, awesome question. But I hope that what I'm saying is really helpful. I want you to see the meaning that's already in your question. It's already there, the meaning that's there, and how that is already tripping you up before you've even begun. Now, if you can see that, and this is what we talk about in my Relatable program, this is what we have very deep discussions around a lot, is helping my students, or our family, as we are, we're a family, our Relatable family, see this for themselves. Because when you do, there is so much more choice around a situation, so much more choice than there ever was when you can't see it. Because when you can't see it, you're really only left with two choices: change that person or withdraw, as in leave, shut down, etc. That's all you got. And neither of those are great, are they? Neither of those are going to get you to the space, to that level of connection and playfulness and love and understanding that we are looking for. So this is why I talk so much about the importance of building a relationship from the ground up versus the top down. When we're building a relationship from the ground up, we're building it understanding this. One of those things is that we are meaning-making machines, and we make meaning out of everything. Everything. Your ability to see that is what will set you free. Your ability to see that is what will have you feel empowered. Your ability to see that is what will enable you to put the past down and be present in the now, which is where love resides. The now is where love resides. Love does not reside anywhere else. It's in the now. It's in the now. And so it's that ability. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. When I'm in the now, like last night, my husband was so lovely. I flew in very late. My plane didn't land. It was held up. I didn't land until I think it was around 11 p.m. and it was a 2-hour drive home. I didn't get home till, no, it was more than a 2-hour drive home. I didn't get home till 2. Yeah, so it was, my car was parked in a long-term car park. So by the time I got in my bags, got to the long-term car park, found my car, got out, and I had to get petrol. Like I wasn't really on the road to home till nearly midnight, and I was really tired. And I was a bit worried about driving all that way and, just losing concentration. And so my husband was just on the phone with me. He talked to me for the 2-hour drive. He just talked to me the whole way. We just talked about, I don't know, anything and everything on the way home. And he was talking about the fact that he had my, he was tracking my car as it was driving along the freeway. I can see you here. You've just turned off here and you're here. And we're just doing whatever to keep me focused and awake so that I got home safely. And, as we were driving, we were so present in that moment. I wasn't thinking about, we're not even talking about anything important. Like, these are all the little things that creep into your mind sometimes. We're not talking about anything important. We're just talking about anything. Like, we're just talking about banal, not very interesting, not very whatever things. But I wasn't, do you know what I mean? I was so in the present. None of that was in my mind. We were just talking about whatever showed up. Oh, I'm driving past here. Oh, well, there's roadworks here. Like, we were just so present in the now. There was no other thought about anything. And I was filled with so much love and appreciation because he'd worked a really big week. He'd been up since very early. My husband's a gardener, so he'd been up since the crack of dawn. And so, he was staying awake to talk to me. And I was so grateful and so appreciative that that's the only feeling I was in as I drove home. And when I walked in the door, I wasn't thinking about anything else. There was nothing else on my mind. We had this lovely moment, gave each other a big hug, crawled into bed and went to sleep. And all that was there on my mind was how grateful and thankful I was. There was no other thinking. And the power of that, I can't explain to you, because it's every little thought that we have that takes us away, that dilutes it. And so when you really see this, and again, these are the things that we talk about. When you see this, it is such a beautiful feeling. It is such a beautiful feeling. And the thing about human beings is we are driven by the need to feel good. And so when you experience a feeling like that, you just want more of it. And so the things that come in that try and take you away, it's like, no, thanks. I'm not interested in that. I just want to have more of that. And that's how you keep creating it. But you have to understand what I've been talking about throughout this whole live. Okay? How human beings work, that we are meaning-making machines. We put meaning on everything. We don't see it. We decide that that's true. And then we gather all the evidence and we live out of that. And then we're in the creation of it. And so I know the difference when I'm present. I know the difference when I'm present. I know the difference when I'm not. Now, knowing that is incredibly important. And you could say that that's incredibly important for every single aspect of your life. Like, it doesn't just apply to your relationships, it applies to everything. When I'm present, I am present to love. When I'm present, I'm in a loving frame of mind. I'm present to gratitude. I'm present to beauty. I'm present and curious. There's more of me on offer. I want to be that for my husband. I want to be that for you. I want to be that for my children. I want to be that for myself. Because when I show up that way, the ripple effects are huge. Now imagine if we were all doing that. Now, I'm not talking about every second of every day, because that's not even possible, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not even aiming for that. All right. So, but imagine if you were doing that more often than not. What would be available for you? What would change in your life? What would open up for you? And I'm talking about you personally. I'm also talking about the people around you. This cuts across everything, because I really want you to see this. When you value that, your health will change. Your finances will change. Your level of connection will change. Your well-being will change. Your playfulness will change. And to me, that's it. That's the most powerful space to live your life from. And it is available to everybody, irrespective of your past, because you are not your past. You are not your personality. You're not your mistakes. You are so much bigger than that. And to me, that's what I feel like, that's what I'm committed to, is helping people see that any way that I can. Because when you see that, you show up differently for the people around you. You show up differently to strangers. You show up differently to things like someone cutting you off on the road, right? You show up differently to the inconveniences that happen in our lives. Your level of resilience goes up. You feel more empowered. And we need more people like that in the world, especially at the moment. So, it's a very long answer to this person's question, but I feel like it's such a great question because it encapsulates so many things. Okay, everybody. I hope this has been helpful to you. I can't speak as long today, but I think I've spoken long enough anyway. We're up to the 32-minute mark. Thank you for being here. So nice to see my Relatable students and some of you who haven't seen for a little while. Really, really lovely to spend this time with you. I wish you a wonderful weekend. And if you want to know more about my Relatable program, if you want to join our Relatable family, we'd love to have you. The more the merrier. The conversations that we have on our live calls are so very special. And I love the ripple effects of this understanding and what it brings to people's lives and the lives of the people around them. So if you'd love to join our Relatable family, then I'll put the link in the comments below. And otherwise, I will see you next Friday. If you have a question that you would like me to answer, please send it to hello@fionalukes.com.au and I will answer it for you. Okay, just mark it Friday Live. All right, thank you, Nathan. Don't squeeze the cat. Yes, thank you, Nathan. Fantastic live. Thank you, Jody. It is a beautiful, loving family. Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Ciao.